tonight. Loud noises cause concern in South Regina. We'll tell you what's behind it. Saskatoon City Council casts a deciding vote on money for a new downtown arena and entertainment district. And we check in with Mydale's Keely Shaw as the cyclist gets ready to compete in her second Paralympics.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, August 28th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thanks for joining us tonight. Saskatchewan's health minister says charging patients for faster medical service is not okay with him. He's reacting to a story we brought you last night about a Regina woman who's upset her doctor's office is offering a subscription for better service.
I pay my taxes. That's what is supposed to fund our public healthcare system. And it was really concerning to me that my doctor's office was essentially trying to start privatizing and start selling sort of tiered level memberships. It was really strange.
Rand says she felt emotionally manipulated when she received an email with the subject line, "Keep your doctor in practice." It came from the Albert and Parliament Primary Healthcare Clinic in Regina. Patients can pay $30 to $50 a month to receive an improved patient experience with faster service. We caught up with the health minister as he toured the parkade under construction at Regina General Hospital today. We asked him whether he agrees with clinics charging for faster service.
Personally, I would say no. I think we want to make sure that we do have equitable access for patients, regardless of where they live and what their circumstances or the situation would be. Again, I think that's the purpose of how we deliver healthcare here in Saskatchewan. So again, that would be my personal opinion of it, I guess. But we do have the ministry looking closer into the situation.
And the Ministry of Health is investigating whether the service violates the Saskatchewan Medical Care Insurance Act. We have not received a response from the clinic, but it has removed information about the paid service from its website. Saskatoon is one step closer to getting a new downtown arena and revitalized entertainment district. City Council approved the proposal this afternoon. That means city administration can now proceed with the plan. Financial commitments still need to be sorted out, though. Councillors also said they heard from residents worried about property tax increases in order to pay for the new arena. But city administration says that was not part of the plan. Ward 6 Councillor Cynthia Block says she's looking forward to what comes next.
Keep moving this forward, we have an opportunity for an incredibly bright future for the heart of our city. And to me, this is a city building initiative. It's an opportunity to have a modern event center and a modern expanded convention center that are important tools to catalyze the kind of growth we need to see in our city for residential development and commercial development.
If it goes ahead, the Arena and Entertainment District project is expected to cost around $1.2 billion. Meanwhile, in Regina, a panel discussion is being held to discuss how to make that city's downtown safer and more welcoming. Mid-year crime statistics show total crime has been stable in the city this year, but arsons and certain assaults are on the rise. Business owners, city representatives, and the YWCA are among the groups exploring how to enhance the downtown. The general manager of Regina's Cornwall Centre Mall says she's looking forward to the conversations.
I think if the community can come together and we all want to work collectively towards building an even better downtown, that's what we should be doing, and seeing how we can encourage everybody to come downtown, because a thriving downtown is not only good just for the downtown, but it's great for Regina.
The Regina Police Service, meanwhile, has a new unit aimed at increasing downtown safety. That includes 8 constables stationed exclusively in the downtown core. The panel discussion is tonight at 7 o'clock at the Regina Public Library Central Branch. It is also open to the public. Heartless, evil monster. Those are just a few of the emotionally charged words spoken by the families of 3 Indigenous women during today's sentencing hearing in Winnipeg for serial killer Jeremy Skibitsky. Relatives and advocates had their chance to tell the packed courtroom how the killings rattled their families and sent shockwaves through communities across the country. CBC's Josh Crabb has the latest and a warning: this story contains disturbing details.
Outside the courthouse in downtown Winnipeg, friends and family members of the 4 murder victims leaned on each other for support after Jeremy Skibitsky was sentenced. Donna Bartlett spoke about the loss of her granddaughter, Mercedes Myron.
We're forever going to lose my girl. We don't have her home. He is an evil monster, and I will never say his name. He has no name.
This painting was placed in the courtroom as families shared their grief. It was done by Mercedes Myron's uncle, and it was meant to represent her and the 3 other victims, Morgan Harris, Rebecca Contois, and a 4th unidentified woman given the name Mushkade Bishake Ikwe Ibon. Myron's sister, Jordan, fought through tears. Her grandma had to finish reading her victim impact statement.
I'm still extremely upset. This will never be enough for me. What he did to those women, he deserves a lot more than what was put on him today.
Before imposing a sentence, Chief Justice Glenn Joyelle told Jeremy Skibitsky to stand up. Skibitsky initially refused. When he did stand up, Joyelle asked him if he had anything to say. Skibitsky told the court no. Joyelle told him, then sit down. He then went on to sentence him to life on all 4 counts, with no chance of parole for at least 25 years. The sentences will be served at the same time. Skibitsky was found guilty last month of 4 counts of first-degree murder. The packed courtroom listened as 12 victim impact and 2 community impact statements were read, including one from Sandra Delarond, an advocate for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, who shared one to address the impact on all Manitobans. She read it for CBC outside of court.
The community experiences deep-seated trauma, fear, and insecurity because of these murders.
Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs Grand Chief Kathy Merrick told court Skibitsky's actions will have reverberations on First Nations people for generations to come.
They called him a monster in the courtroom, and he sat there. He did not blink an eye. No remorse whatsoever for what he did to our women. Cutting them up, throwing them in landfills.
In imposing his sentence, Joyelle told court the crimes were racially motivated. The judge said all 4 vulnerable Indigenous women were preyed upon by a white supremacist who was acting on homicidal necrophilia. The Crown told court there's nothing they can do to punish Skibitsky enough, describing him as the personification of indignity. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
RCMP have arrested a man they believe was involved in over a dozen arson incidents near Macklin over the last month, and the person police arrested is a firefighter in the community. Earlier this month, the Macklin Fire Department issued a $20,000 reward for information related to a series of hay bale fires. On Monday, police arrested 25-year-old Logan Sieben. He's charged with arson, causing mischief, arson with intent to defraud, and theft under $5,000. Macklin's fire chief issued a public apology on social media this morning, saying the fires don't represent the fire department or its members. Sieben is set to appear in court in November. Well, if you live in South Regina, you may have heard some loud banging noises recently. A lot of people are talking about the mystery noises online and wondering whether they are gunshots or fireworks. But turns out they're neither. Shlok Talati has more.
It's a sound that has been ringing through Regina neighborhoods this summer. Usually late at night, sometimes in the middle of the night. But what are they? Police have been getting reports and say usually the culprit is a modified vehicle.
And I feel bad because we get multiple people calling in, like the same person calling in multiple times, and we can go out there and sit there for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, and we'll get a couple people, then they'll stop. But then the minute we leave, they text all their friends, say they're gone, and they come back and they cause issues. So that's the issue that we have with that as well.
More complaints about the noises have come in this year, and more police resources are also being used to field these reports.
We were getting a lot of gun calls from people kind of around the ledge. And that's obviously a concern for us. We need to treat it like it's real. And when we were going there, like they send usually at least one NCO and a few constables, because if it's a firearm call, we need to take it very seriously. But when we were going there, we ended up finding out it was vehicles.
Multiple posts on social media also had people worried the sounds were from gunfire. We spoke to people in the Lakeview neighborhood, where the sounds have been heard on multiple nights this month. They didn't want to go on camera, but they said the sounds are startling, even if they know now that they're likely coming from vehicles.
We don't have air conditioning, so we have our window open, and you can hear the banging, and it does sound like gunshots, like there's bang, 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 bang. And
it's more of a safety concern. If they're driving fast up and down Albert Street, people are walking, there's lots of pets out here. I don't know if you're making that much noise and driving that fast, whether you can stop quickly. It's concerning.
A new noise policy was put in place by SGI last year. It classified vehicles that are louder than 101.3 decibels as excessively noisy. That's the equivalent of a jackhammer. SGI says police officers can order for modified exhausts to be repaired. It says a failure to do so could lead to a vehicle's registration getting cancelled.
I remember the guys back in the 70s cruising Albert Street, and some of them would even go as far as to put a spark plug in the exhaust, and they'd kind of ghost the car, shut it down, turn it back on, and they'd have a little bit of a flamethrower when they'd get up and going again.
SGI says inspection stations are open to anyone who wants to check their vehicles for noise. Despite this, police say if residents hear sounds that they think could be gunshots, they should still call it in. Shlok Talati, CBC News, Regina.
The FSIN is calling on provincial and federal governments to remove taxes for Indigenous people. On-reserve community members are already exempt from certain taxes, but the group wants that broadened. The Federation represents 74 Indigenous communities in Saskatchewan. It says tax exemption is a government promise, and it wants other taxes, including the carbon tax and gas taxes, exempt as well.
When our chief signed treaty again, another reminder, one of the treaty rights was exemption from taxation. And as I said earlier, we never knew no provincial boundaries. Whether it's on or off reserve, our treaties are portable. They follow us wherever we go. That was our agreement back in the 1800s. That was the guarantee.
Cameron says he wants to make a case in front of King Charles because the Crown signed treaties, not governments. If not, he says a lawsuit could be filed. The province says while it is committed to affordability measures, it has no plans to change the tax status of any residents. Well, what a difference a day makes. Yesterday's sunny, hot weather has turned a corner into a much cooler and rainier day. And it looks like we have a bit more of this unsettled weather to get through before the heat and the sunshine make a return. I'll have a full look at your forecast when we come back. Stay with us.
The weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. Employee pricing is on now.
Welcome back. Well, the cloud and the showers still lingering over parts of our province this evening, although off of our tower cam there in Regina, you can see a little bit of some breaks of sun in the distance there, but a lot of that cloud, that low-level cloud still hanging over the city. We can see those showers on radar right now passing through much of south and central Saskatchewan. There's that band that moved through Regina a little bit earlier today, and there's the break in the cloud kind of behind it in the dry slot of this system that's moving through. But for Saskatoon and communities along the Yellowhead corridor there, and especially through the northern grain belt, that rain is continuing to move northward, and that'll continue through the night tonight. This whole system, this low pressure system that's been bringing this unsettled weather, also bringing with it some funnel cloud advisories, which remain in effect for southwestern Saskatchewan tonight for places like Swift Current and Maple Creek and the Shaunavon and Cypress Hills area. And as that system and all that rain move through, on the kind of the other side of it, we have some much cooler temperatures. We've only managed to get into the mid-teens for many of us today. Still quite warm, though, especially the further north you go. In fact, our warm spot is in South End, Saskatchewan on Reindeer Lake, still into the mid-20s right now. The system has also kind of picked up winds a little bit. Nothing too extraordinary here, but from time to time we have seen some breezes moving through. This whole system continues to move through tonight. For Regina and the south, I think we will actually get some clearing skies as we get into the dry portion of this system. But again, for Saskatoon, for Prince Albert, for much of central Saskatchewan, the rain continues overnight. Tomorrow, we're kind of left with the remnants of this system. So it's still cloudy. Much of us will have a chance of some showers, although I think the bulk of the moisture will have passed us by the time we get into tomorrow morning. Another quick shot at some moisture through northern Saskatchewan Friday evening before high pressure begins to clear us out and warm us up for the long weekend. Could see amounts between 10 and 20 millimeters in central Saskatchewan. Again, mostly through the night tonight. That includes Saskatoon. Thunderstorms bringing locally heavier moisture at times. We're going to watch for another windy day, especially in the south tomorrow. Gusts 50 to 60 kilometers an hour, and still a little bit breezy in eastern regions as we get into Friday. And those winds starting to pick up in the north as well. Those winds going to start shifting. They're going to be coming from the north, so that means a little bit of that forest fire smoke is going to make its way southward into portions of southern and central Saskatchewan, perhaps by as early as tomorrow morning, especially in the Saskatoon area. We could be seeing that, but then winds shift to kind of coming from the west as we head into Friday, and so that pushes that smoke a little bit more into Manitoba. For tomorrow, we are still looking at a chillier and rainier, more fall-like day for Regina, but then we see a big increase in the temperatures as that high pressure moves in and clears us out. Could even hit the 30-degree mark as we begin the month of September as we end the long weekend. For Saskatoon, a little warmer tomorrow, but again, some showers possible with a little bit of some hazy conditions here and there. Feeling like the mid-30s possibly as we round out the long weekend and head into the beginning of next week. Well, thousands of people descended on a village in Spain today for one of the world's most famous annual food fights. Trucks loaded with ripe, juicy tomatoes supply these revelers with ammunition. It's called the Tomatina, a tradition that dates back to 1945 when villagers had a spontaneous bust-up. It draws visitors from around the world, and organizers claim that there's no food waste here. The tomatoes are not fit for human consumption. Looks messy. We'll be back after the break. Well, the 2024 Paralympic Games are officially underway in Paris, with the opening ceremonies wrapping up this evening. A performance of an Edith Piaf classic helped get things started. Athletes entered the Place de la Concorde after following the Champs-Élysées from the Arc de Triomphe. Canada's flag bearers are previous gold medalists, basketball player Pat Anderson and swimmer Katarina Roxon. They are among 126 Canadian athletes competing in 18 sports. The Paralympics run for 11 days with daily coverage on CBC TV, CBC Gem, and online at cbc.ca. And meanwhile, there are 10 Saskatchewan athletes that will compete in the 2024 Paralympics, including cyclist Keely Shaw, who won a medal in the 2020 Tokyo Games. And we chatted with Shaw before she left to hear more about her strategy on the track.
At the end of the day, it's me, my bike, and a stopwatch. So in track cycling, in my event, we have a qualifier. The top four race for medals. 1 and 2 go for gold, silver. 3 and 4 go for bronze and fourth. And we had gone into that race with the goal of qualifying second. We knew gold was probably out of reach, but if I could qualify second, have a guaranteed medal, my job was done. I've gone through the same warm-up so many times that my body just knows when we start doing this, it's time to rumble. As I was warming up, my coach handed me I have a book that I write down all of my pre-race schedules, everything I need to do, everything I need to know. And he handed me my book while I was warming up, and he had written down all these different quotes. So it's the big, you miss 100% of the shots you never take, or like all these stupid inspirational quotes. And at the end, it had said, it's only a bike race, quoted by Coach Seth. At that moment, I just knew it was game time, and my game face had to be on. Getting out of the gate is key, so that's why it's so important to practice just that first pedal stroke and timing it. Because if you're a little bit late, then you're going to wobble, you're going to lose that 10th of a second. If you're a little bit early, you're going to get caught in the gate, and then you almost have to restart. The funny thing is it kind of hurts right off the bat. Like, my event, it's 3 kilometers, that I do in usually about 3 minutes, 50 seconds, hopefully a little bit faster in Paris.
Well, they're just getting into rhythm now. They've been through that powerful start and the transition.
This is a event where you are trying to figure out just how strong you can be for 3 minutes and 50 seconds. We always say that by lap 6, you want to feel like you're accelerating, but really all you're doing is trying to slow how fast you are decelerating. And then with 3 laps to go, it's kind of a put it all out there, and hopefully you can gain a little bit of speed. Probably not gain, but hopefully you can maintain your speed and just give it everything you've got to the line. I can't control what anybody else does in that race, and what they do in the race doesn't actually impact my race. While you don't go to the Paralympics to participate.
Bronze to Canada.
You don't go there to just I'm just going to try my best. You go there to win. I am objectively faster than I was 3 years ago. That's kind of the joys of cycling. There's not a lot of subjectivity to it. We have lap times, we have power outputs. So 3:44 would be a personal best for me. And I think it probably should be enough to get me to the medal round. What color I'd be racing for is up in the air. We don't know, but that's really what I'm aiming for.
Well, the countdown to the Riders' biggest game of the season is on, as this season's Labor Day Classic has huge implications on the CFL West Division standings. The Riders currently hold a slim 1-point lead for first spot ahead of their Sunday foes, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It will also be the first Labor Day Classic in green and white for quarterback Trevor Harris. And though he says it's exciting to play a big rivalry game, he's treating it just like any other football game this season.
The intensity heightens for Labor Day games, but I'm not treating this any differently. It's 12 on 12. The atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric, and we couldn't be more excited about it as a team. But to me, there's nothing really better than these type of games once you get to this type of time of the year. And but at the end of the day, it's 12 on 12, and we're going to go out there and do our best to execute and just put together a great game plan and see what we can come up with in 60 minutes of football.
And Sunday's winner will take first spot in the CFL West Division. Kickoff is at 5 p.m. at Mosaic Stadium. Well, the clouds will continue clearing through Regina tonight, and by midnight we're looking at mainly clear skies, a temperature of 11 degrees. But by morning, we'll see that cloud cover begin to move back in as kind of the remnants of that low pressure system are with us. There is a chance we could see some showers as well. And then heading into the afternoon, probably some breaks of sun here and there, but there is still a chance of an afternoon shower. Keep in mind that temperature only 15 degrees. Possible fog along with some showers tonight in Saskatoon, maybe another 5 to 10 millimeters there. Smoke may be making its way down from the north by tomorrow morning. We might get a little bit of clearing from that by the noon hour, but we are once again seeing a chance of showers into the afternoon. Those northwest winds continuing to be a little bit breezy as we head into the afternoon. Again, temperatures probably only in the mid to upper teens. And finally, an amazing sight greeted passerby on a road overlooking the Swiss Alps. What looks like an avalanche is actually clouds rolling down into a mountain pass in Switzerland. The weather phenomenon is known as Föhn, which in German means hairdryer. It occurs when a humid, cold air mass rises over a mountain and then cascades down the other side. It also causes the air to rapidly become hot and dry when it reaches the valley. And it looks pretty cool too. That is it for us tonight. For news anytime, you can always head to our website, cbc.ca/sask, subscribe to our CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel, or download the CBC News app. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.